Hello, everybody. Welcome to LivesBerg Technologies. This is the program where we are discussing about crime rate, which is increasing among school kids, school students, which is a concern about the education department and authorities. And equally, it is a concern about parents as well. So we are soon going to give an introduction of our celebrities here, our guests here. So let's go ahead and have an introduction. We have got Mr. Ashok Pandey, sir, with us, who is the director of Ahlcon International. He has been working in education since past 30 years. He has worked with several prestigious organizations such as Rotary Public School, Mayo College, International Indian School, MIT International School, and Delhi Public School. He was asked to lead principal's delegation to University of Malta, Rice University, Houston, USA, and to the College of Leadership, Nottingham, UK. He is heading the National Progressive School Conference, a professional body of over 160 schools, as its chairman for 2 years terms, 2015 to 2017. Welcome on our live webinar, Ashok, sir. All right, so we move on to our next guest, who is Mrs. Ranjana Tewari, founder and director of World Education Express. She is pioneer in promoting the K-12 education culture, incubating an education more suited to the needs of educators of 21st century. She has served as the principal of top leading K-12 chains of India for almost 2 decades. Mount Literate Z School, Shamford Futuristic Schools, and many more. As the founder principal of Mount Literate Z School, Haryana, she was successful in setting up a school of very high standards in a town with all possible challenges. She serves as the honorary advisory to many schools all over India and has conducted many training workshops to uplift spirit of thousands of teachers and students for more than 2 decades. Welcome to LivesBerg Facebook live session, Ranjana ma'am.
Hi, Pooja. Thank you so much for your kind introduction.
Welcome, ma'am. And another guest we have got is Mrs. Richa Kumar. She is the principal of Orchids, the international school. She has been working in education since past 20 years. And talk about the language, she is pioneer in English, Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati, Bengali, and as well French. She is honored with the recognitions and awards from Education World EduStar. Her vision is to design programs to accelerate learning programs for students, creating a motivated learner in society. Her mission is to laying foundation for school students on ethics, honesty, punctuality, self-discipline, gratitude. Managing people, data, and processes is something which she is pioneer in, and she loves to do that. Welcome, Richa ma'am, to the live session of LivesBerg.
Thank you so much, Pooja, for your kind introduction. Really, lots of gratitude and thanks. Let's go ahead.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So before we go ahead, we would like to tell our audience that we here will be talking about. All right, so before there is a disclaimer. The disclaimer is we would suggest that no kid below 18 years is joining this session, because here we are going to have discussion around BOIS Locker Room. These are very bold subjects, and I'm very grateful for our guests, those who have taken this initiative and have got courage to address this in front of live audience. So we will also be talking about crime rate in schools by school kids, increasing pornography among kids, and increasing sexual assaults among school students. And here, when we are talking about students, we are talking about literate students, those who belong to public schools. And before that, yes, how can we forget about my introduction? So I am the CEO and director of CEO and director of LivesBerg Technologies. And my mission is to decrease the number of crimes among school kids, sexual assaults, killing, stealing, pornography, by making students themselves responsible for their actions. Wow. And by inculcating success and winners mindset among all of them. Yes, that's what our mission is. And soon we are going to initiate mindset sessions for teachers and parents. So yes, schools, if you want to have us to have a mindset session for kids, teachers, or parents, definitely you can reach out to us. We are mentoring success and startup mindset to kids below 18 years. And the program is based on the success patterns and habits of 1% world's rich people. What we believe in is that success leaves trails. And if you follow the footprints of the successful people, nobody can stop you but to be as successful as they are. And LivesBerg is the world's first incubation program for kids below 18 years. All right, so let's go ahead and ask our first question, which is for Ashok sir. Ashok sir, according to the survey, the crime by literate juvenile is increasing compared to illiterate juvenile. Let me repeat this line once again. The crimes by literate juvenile is increasing as compared to illiterate juvenile. And there are wise people who would say that education cures any ailment of society. But here is this research which proves it all wrong. Ashok sir, what do you have to say about this?
Yeah, thank you, Pooja. Pooja, just tell me once, am I audible and good enough?
Absolutely, sir. You are audible and good enough.
Fine, fine. Thank you. Thank you, Pooja, for inviting me. I have great appreciation for the work that you are doing. Your work is pioneering in many ways, and you have taken some of the very bold steps in addressing some of the very severe and very prominent needs of the youth, I would say, particularly of the young boys and girls before 18 years of age. And in that context, your present effort to address some of the disturbing trends that we are uh, uh, facing these days is also very appreciable. Now, coming to your question, now I have two or three things to say. The crimes are increasing, and I know that not only in juvenile, not only the young children, the adults, the every state of society. It only means that what kind of crime we are talking about. So this is one thing. The second thing is that literate versus illiterate that you are saying. But I can only give you a caution: if the whole world was literate, then there would be no crime. I don't think so. If the whole world is illiterate and there will be no crime, I don't think so. All I'm trying to convey is the crime, committing a crime is a factor of many things. You see, the if we concentrate on the people who are learning, who have access to schooling, who have access to the facilities and affluence, they have a different kind of upbringing and growing and mindset. Those who do not have the basic means of food and shelter and clothing, their needs are different, and they have different upbringing. Their peer group influences, what they are exposed to, is totally different. But two or three things which are very common between whether you are illiterate or you are literate: the exposure to peer group, exposure to what you see in the media, exposure to what you hear, exposure to what is happening in the families. They are very common things. And children's behavior and personality is shaped by the atmosphere in which the child is growing. And that atmosphere is very, very important. How the child's relationship is panning out with the atmosphere, with the environment, with geography, with family, with community. These things are very, very important. And another thing is, what is the behavior pattern that the society demands? And you will find in all societies, in all times, across generations, there is a tendency to deviate from that behavior. Now, how far you deviate, what are the parameters and shapes and colors of that deviation, and how society responds to those deviations is something that as a challenge we have to face. And therefore, I would go on to say that there is, of course, a lot of rethinking required in our education system as to what kind of education we are giving. My sense is for many, many years, two very important aspects of education. Of course, one is cognitive building, preparing you for life, preparing you to become an independent, the economic reasons and all that. But the other part of the education is character building, building in you the human sensitivities, human sensibilities, empathy, compassion, kindness, forgiveness. So somehow or the other, our education system has been skewed, and we have focused more on cognitive building, more on preparing children for job, getting better, having material benefits. So we went overboard in that area, and probably at the cost of the other half. And now Aristotle has said it very famously that the society's aspiration should be the flourishing of the human mind and human beings. And that flourishing has the character flourishing, the intelligence flourishing at the same time. So this skewed imbalance is also in a way responsible for what we are seeing in the society. So I'll rest at this. Maybe during the course of discussion, we can build on this. Over to you, Pooja.
Thank you, Ashok sir. That was really engaging, and you said absolutely right. We are being skewed towards job seeking. And yes, it is important that we get back and we inculcate the kind of society where we have got values and we focus on making our kids better person over earning better. So very wonderfully said. Now I will be moving to our next question, and this question is for Ranjana ma'am. Ranjana ma'am, the question is that the worst of all the cases we heard was when a 4-year young boy, just a 4-year young boy, assaulted another 4-year young girl. That was a very sad incident. However, that was not the only one. There had been series of other incidents related to young kids. And this happened in public or international school. How as a school personnel we can ensure that this doesn't happen, which actually is a very sad thing which happened. So over to you, Ranjana ma'am.
Thank you, Pooja. But I'd like to know what kind of assault are you talking about? Is it a physical assault or um, there was some other kind of assault? Could you please specify?
It was a sexual assault, ma'am. So this boy sexually assaulted 4-year young girl, and she kept telling no, no, no. But then our Indian boys, they don't understand the meaning of no. For them, no means yes. So this is something which happened, and an FIR was also launched against this kid, a 4-year young kid, where even police men were also not equipped to answer or interrogate a 4-year young convict. So yes, this is a real incident which happened.
I mean, okay, now when we talk about a child, 4-year child, a child is a child at the end of the day. And to use words like he was arrested or there was a file complaint lodged, a 4-year child won't even know what he or she is doing. I mean, they don't know, it's just a game for them. So before I say anything else, Pooja, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. You're audible, clearly audible.
Okay. So what I want to I want to make you all understand or understand myself as well. That when we talk about pre-primary children, children who are so small, 4-year child is a 4-year child would be like for him or her, it would be a second year in school. Like they come to school 3+, the nursery. So now when they come into the school, it is for a 4-year child is how, I mean, it's just second year in school, and he's a little tiny baby. And how can you? I mean, they don't even know what they're doing. So what I would say is that we adults are responsible for what the children are doing. So somewhere something has the child has seen which the child should not have been subjected to, and they come and practice. Like suppose if we see our mothers cooking, we like to cook. If we see our fathers playing cricket, we like to play cricket too. So similarly, if a child has seen something which the child should have not have seen, then the child comes and just shares it with a friend or practices, not knowing what the repercussions would be. So I think the school, I don't know how did it go like this, that they have been arrested. This is something very, very strange. That's why in schools we have counselors, we train children, we groom parents how to take care of the children, and at a very, very a beautiful age like this, the children need to be really taken care of, and that is why it is very important that how we behave in front of our children. So as parents, as teachers, as elders, we are the role models. So they will just pick up what we are doing. You don't have to tell them. If you're screaming, they would scream. If you're a light speaker, they would be a light speaker. If you're gentle, they'll be gentle too. So when we see children who are violent, who are aggressive, and who do things which we think is not correct, but for them it is correct because they have seen their elders doing that at home. So for children, and especially for pre-primary children, and not only pre-primary, I would say for all children till they pass out school, because they are of an age where they are of an impressionable age, and we are creating impressions. So I think rather than asking the child what you are doing, we should ask ourselves what led the child to do this kind of behavior. For them it was a role play, for them it was just a play. So what I actually ensure, and I tell all the schools whom I mentor or who I've been visiting, that let's take ourselves very seriously. We don't. 24/7, we have to take ourselves very seriously because our children are watching us. Knowing, unknowingly, they are watching us. It could be a 5-year-old, it could be a 10-year-old, it could be a 12-year-old, it could be an 18-year-old child. But they are children at the end of the day because they are in school, they're school going kids. So these kind of, when I see that children are fighting, there have been cases like children are, I mean, they do things which are unruly. It comes from certain background. It comes from certain way the child has been dealt with. And as when we get a child into the world, it is a moral responsibility as parents that we give the child the kind of nurturing the child requires for a sound grooming of mind, health, mental health, body, physically, everything in total. We have to be very aware elderly. We have to be a very aware person when we are doing this. Most of the people, it is just like, okay, we've had children, our parents did not tell us, why should we tell our children? No, the times have changed. We are living in a complete different era. Children are actually so much friendly with the gadgets. A 4-year-old would easily operate a phone and he might see videos which the child should not have seen. They won't even understand what they're doing. So if they see somebody hugging or somebody kissing, they would like to just imitate the same thing. So for them, it is a role play. And the schools have to. That is why we have child, and we really lay emphasis on child abuse. We give trainings on to our teachers, to our staff, to our fourth staff, to our administrative staff, everyone, that they should be aware. You are not going to take yourself so lightly when you are talking to a child. Your body language, the language that you use, the way you are conducting yourself in front of a child, everything the child is taking in. So you need to be sure when you put up yourself as an enter what the child is receiving. So and same goes with the parents. So when the child did something, the parents should have been questioned that why did you let the child, I mean, why the child was exposed to such a thing, and he should have been or she should have been counseled. They don't know what they are doing. So this is an impressionable age, and as elders, it is a moral duty. Whether it is our children or our school children or our neighbors' children, we are actually laying a foundation for them, a foundation of how they should grow up. We all are contributing in our own ways, so we need to be very careful when we talk to children. I think I rest my views here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ranjana ma'am. That was really great, and I completely agree that yes, we need to ensure what we are talking to our kids and how we are operating in front of them. However, do you see, Ranjana ma'am, the kind of counseling, when we say the real counseling, not just having counselors at schools, but then the real counseling is actually happen? Is it happening individually with all the kids? Are kids being educated in primarily all of the public and international schools? Is this system being followed thoroughly and sincerely, or is it just a system which is existing? And that is why we could see these things increasing. Over to you, ma'am.
So I see with the increase of technology, things are bound to increase. Exposure is there. Children are they are going all crazy, seeing a lot of things. But as parents, we need to deal with it, and we need to put a bar what they can see, what they cannot see, even at schools also. And as far as schools are concerned, I am sure, and I'm 100% sure, all schools are taking enough care that the children are counseled, the staff is counseled, the parents are counseled, and when all schools have a counselor. They have a proper counselor wherein each child is taken care of, whether the child is eating properly, or the child is reluctant, or the child is hesitant in doing certain things. We take a very close look to a child's life, and we actually help the child and the parent to build relations with each other. And that is what all schooling is all about, so that the child becomes an independent, a confident individual when the child grows up, and of course a responsible individual and mindful too. This is very important. Mindfulness is very important. And I think in the schools that I've visited, and the schools that I've grown, and the schools that I've headed, we've had counselors, and we are taking day to day issues. And they go on. I mean, it's not that, okay, there's something which has happened in the school, and okay, fine, an immediate action was taken. No, there is a follow up, and there is another follow up, then another follow up, till we are sure that the child is out of that set of skills that we don't require the child to have, or out of that mode of thinking that we don't think it will benefit the child. So this is what we have been doing, and schools actually are very diligently. They are pursuing counseling, and it is very important. We have these online counseling sessions nowadays. Teachers are interacting much more with the parents, and one-to-one interaction is there, and on WhatsApp, and everything has become so connected that there's hardly any gap. But of course, the gap is there if you're not ready to be with the child. So the gap is not there, and I'm sure schools. I actually don't agree that the crime rate is increasing. I would say that yes, they're coming to light. They must have been before. It is not that they were not there before. They were, but then they were not coming to light. Nowadays, it is coming to light because everything is so accessible, right? But fortunately, I would say that the children are aware, the parents are also aware, and the schools have become much more aware. And we are doing our level best to keep our children safe and protected.
Wonderfully said. Thank you, Ranjana ma'am. Thank you. All right. So then, again, the replies which you have just given takes us to the next question, which I would like to ask from Richa ma'am. And the question is that parents complain that schools must take the responsibility. They have learned not from us, but from somewhere else. And schools say that parents must be more careful. And both say that internet is the main cause. Now, we cannot take internet away from these kids because they are born in the internet world. How can we together sort the ill effects of the internet on our kids and ensure that they stay away from committing any crime? Over to you, Richa ma'am. Richa ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Very good inputs coming from Dr. Pandey and Dr. Manjri. I have taken this question. This is something that we have been regularly dealing with, and we believe that learning begins from home as well as from school. We cannot just keep it on a school or a parent that, okay, you take the responsibility, because learning is a two-way process of receiving and relating. We as authorities, whether it is the school community or the parent community, we need to orient our children to be more responsive rather than reactive. Okay, so keeping the children away from internet, today the situation is so that we cannot do that. But yes, guiding the child in the right way, that what is right and what is wrong, is a very important part. And today, as Dr. Manjri just shared with us, that the trainings that are going on in schools, wherein we are trying to make children understand. I would like to just give a statement that sensitizing to sanitizing should be the first priority of family and school, whether it is to the mind or to the body. I strongly believe that in order to solve the situation, teaching parenting skills is a good approach, but not the only approach. Because every parent tries to give their best. We cannot just put the blame that, okay, you are not good. Parents are already struggling every day because of their economic problems and their social problems and so many things. We as school and they as parents, I have termed a very beautiful word for all the parents in all my schools, and I have used it very effectively and won a lot of response and good encouragement from my parents, which is called homeschool community partnership. Now, this homeschool community partnership, which is a process wherein you have the authorities who are working towards guiding children that what is crime all about, how to keep yourself safeguarded, what is socio-emotional learning, how you have to be socially ready for things, how you have to be empathetic, how you have to be sympathetic, how you have to be solution oriented. Now, these are the things in which we have to work together in order to come to a solution. We can sort out this issue. As you just said, how can we sort the ill effects of internet? Ill effects of internet can be sorted out if we are giving them the right guidance, the guidance to understand what they are observing is right, what they are observing is not right, what they need to take and what they need not take. This is something which is very important for us as a homeschool community to understand and take effective measures. Because if we are creating this, then we are having a safe school where there is transparency, there is communication, there is adaptability, flexibility, a diverse approach to handle the situation at hand and help us evolve and resolve the issues at hand. That's how I would say that this is how we can take care, and this is how all schools, wherever we have been working, these SEL sessions called the socio-emotional learning sessions have become a very important part of their everyday learning, because this is the way where a teacher can keep a approach, can keep a eye on what the child is doing, why a child is behaving so, how a teacher can take an approach towards a situation. For example, let's take some example. Now you have a situation where you have seen a child who, because today we are taking online sessions, a lot of such issues are coming in front of us. Okay, suddenly now we are seeing one child who's trying to show his vital parts. Okay, now he's lying down on the bed and doing it. Okay, now a teacher who has observed this has brought it to our notice. Now, as a authority, what are you going to do? Will you just make a hue cry about it? No, you will just try to have a better approach to talk first to the parent in a very beautiful manner. Tell that, ma'am, can you see this video and see if there's something inappropriate and can we do something about it? The parent, if he is conscious, definitely he will try and see, and a solution can be taken out. A counselor can intervene, can sit with the child, can find a solution, and the problem can be solved. So here, today, I feel more of it, the situations that are being, shared on the screen, on the media is more about the wrong approach of people. If a 4-year-old child is doing something wrong, that means somewhere we have not been able to understand that child. Because if we are Because if we were able to handle it carefully, we would not have seen that situation. That's how I feel that these are the ways in which we, parents as well as school, should take care of handling students effectively and efficiently. To just sum up on this, sensitizing the mind by helping them being empathetic, sympathetic, solution oriented, positive, and sanitizing your body to be safe and secure. That's the need of the hour. Thank you, Pooja. That's
Yeah.
all I will rest
Pooja, can I come in here?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure, you can come, sir.
Brilliant points have been made by Richa in response to this particular question. And when it comes to parents and school, the teachers or principal, I have a couple of things to advise that we should not treat each others as adversaries. We are not a political party that we have to accuse each other. We have to work as collaborators, because between the parents and the school stands the child, right at the center. And the best interest of the child, the personality of the child, future of the child is a very, very important thing. And therefore, parents must believe what teachers are saying. Teachers must believe what parents are saying. And this internet, it is not only internet per se, it is the content on the internet. It is the content on other media which the children are exposed to. And what I have to say is that the children are more into net on the hot and prime sources, and they are exposed to so many things. Many times we are surprised when we hear a child using a particular language or a set of words, and we wonder where have they picked it all. Because we know they don't listen to it in the family knows that they don't listen to it in the school largely. So where has this language come from? It means they are being exposed to some other world, some other conversations, and from where they are picking it up. So as Richa also said, that you can't take the internet out of them. Internet will remain within them. But how we can develop trust with them, how we can be with them, how we can regulate their behavior, and how we can find out in a way as to what is attracting them, what is occupying more of their time, and how we can regulate that in collaboration with those young children. That will sort out the problem to some extent. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Ashok sir, for adding
yeah.
these beautiful points. And if definitely you are absolutely right, and we completely agree with you that yes, we all have to take the responsibility. And very beautifully said that instead of blame game between us, we need to understand that there is a child, and these children are the future of our country. Then we need to take the responsibility. So parents play their role at the best to provide them values, and schools are already doing the beautiful work. Lovely. Thank you so much. So let's move on to our next question. And the next question is that we believe that this particular issue, which is increasing, which of course is evident in the news, and also just to inform you that these news which are being evident or which are being published, they are limited number of news. These are just the cases which got highlighted. However, if we look beneath, there are thousands of these kind of scenarios happening. It's just that they are not highlighted. So yes, we cannot disagree by saying that this is not happening or it is less happening. Yes, this is happening. And in our personal interviews with kids, we talked about the BIOS Locker Room, and they said that only 2 of the cases were highlighted. However, there are thousands of groups which are going ahead. They are running. And then, of course, this kind of conversation is happening. The sad part is that grade 6 kids are also involved. So, yes, somewhere we need to put in more efforts from the parents side or from the teacher side. So what we believe is that this is a bigger pandemic than COVID, because COVID definitely is going to go away. I mean, even its roots would disappear. But then these cases are increasing and it's not going away soon. So how can we sanitize kids' minds, and how can we stop these groups like boys' locker room and ensure that kids respect each other? Yes, Richa ma'am. First of all, I would like to ask this question from you, and then we'll move to other
Okay.
panelists.
Yes. Very rightly, you said that this COVID thing will go away. But today, the thing in front of our children is that the exposure is giving them something that they are not able to handle. So here it is. Now, again, I'm saying that it is in the hands of our parent and teacher community to join hands, to understand, to build on students' mental health and resilience, so that they can grow, they can adapt and handle what comes to them, because they don't know that how to handle so many things that are coming in front of them. Who is approaching, whom to say no, how to say no. So these are the things that they are unable to manage. Because if you will just see anything when new, when it comes in front of them, even before the COVID time, children were always eager to experiment, were always eager to, experience the thing, because that's the nature. That's human nature, that's childlike nature, wherein they will go for it. But we as adults need to sanitize the minds of the child. Sanitizing the mind of the child by teaching them, again, I repeat, teaching them to be empathetic about situations, being sympathetic to people around, being solution oriented to things that are problems, having a positive attitude towards the problem that is in front. That's the need of the hour. And that's how we can sanitize the kids' minds, by keeping them, listening, thinking, orienting towards a positive frame of mind. Because that is the way you can stop them going towards things. I can't say we can actually stop them, but we can make them cautious that yes, child, this is something that will not be good for you. So you need to understand and you need to respect others' space also. Because this is the need of the hour, as I said. We have to keep them focused. We have to see that improve area, which is the need. That's all I would like to rest on this. I think some more discussions and then we can again take it forward.
Thank you, Richa ma'am. Very beautifully said. So we have got a question which will be displayed on the screen. And this is by Christy. And he wants to ask, I believe that cultural values have a great influence on the communication, orientation in families. And as these values fade away from families, the social rules have also been faded. Now, how important is it to maintain or nurture the cultural values in families to improve the barriers in communication between children and parents, which can reduce the crime among children? So, we have already answered and talked about that it is very important to nurture and the cultural values, not just in families, but then second home and second temple to children are the schools, and schools are also doing the same thing. However, I would like to add on, and probably what he's asking is that how can we have this open communication between children and parents and teachers and children, so that they can come up and ask questions around sex education? So yes, here, how important is sex education, and how can we make parents feel comfortable as well, children feel comfortable to approach teachers and to approach their parents to talk about any of their needs or any of their queries around this issue? Over to you, Ashok sir.
Yeah. Hello. May I come in? Yeah. May I come in?
Yes, sir. Please
Yeah.
answer this question.
This you are referring to the question of Mr. Christy Cherian. Uh,
Absolutely, sir.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we also want to know.
Yeah. It's absolutely a brilliant point that he has made, and taking it a little back, the any incident that we come across, the one that you are referring, or which has a deviant behavior or of any kind, the tendency should not be to attribute it to a particular thing. So, for example, if anything happens today, we should not be tempted to say it is because of COVID-19. Of course, COVID-19 is the worst thing that has happened to the world. But for our personal behaviors, for our shift in behavior, how we treat women, how we treat children, that should not be blamed on COVID. That has a deep-rooted cultural issues, how we are bringing ourselves up, what kind of conversations are going on in the families, what kind of value system we are pursuing and perusing. Those things are very, very important. And therefore, two things which are coming to my mind. I think one of the co-panelists mentioned about respect, the respecting privacy, and those things are very important. What I would add to that is that how we relate to each other, how we value relationships, and how we want those relationships to flourish. So if we in public we say one thing, in private we do other things. So this kind of hypocrisy, this kind of saying something and practicing something else, I think these are also the issues. And therefore, what has happened in the past couple of years is that the relationship between student and student, relationship between student and teacher, parents and children, parents and school, all these relationships have come under some kind of strain. So earlier it was thought that okay, it's fine. Children are coming to school, they are getting education, they're going back home, everything is fine in the home, and then we ignored it for a very, very long time without explaining the lines which were appearing, and those fault lines have widened a lot, and the relationships are at a stake, conversations are at a stake. The role model stories are not being told. The stories of resilience, forgiveness, kindness, the heroics of the people. So the children are also not able to see a role model in anything. The parents are not sharing their own stories of their hardships, how they came in a hard way, in their way, how they are doing such a great hardship to raise the family, how they solve their problems, how they meet their failures, how they connect with the conflicts that they come across in their business, in their job, at other places. So these conversations with children are not taking place in the schools. They are coming, there also a lot of focus on cognitive, no focus on building resilience, no focus on building empathy, no focus on community work. So after all, where these qualities will come from? These qualities will come from only when we expose our children to them, and only when we make these an integral part of our curriculum. And what is happening in our education system is that we are testing and we are teaching. So what we are teaching we are testing, and what we are testing we are teaching. There is no test for empathy, there is no test for teamwork, there is no test for good communication, there is no test for kindness, and therefore that is not taught. Moreover, you cannot teach it also in the manner you teach mathematics and physics. So these can be taught only when you create simulations, you create stories, you take them out on the field, put them to those situations, how they respond to it. I think those are the things that are missing. And that is why, if anything is missing, it is to be filled by something. It is the law of nature. Unfortunately, it is being filled by filth and not by virtues. That's the unfortunate thing.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. We are very well convinced with what you have said just now. However, we would like to say bye bye to Ranjana Tiwari, ma'am, because she has to now enter in another webinar. Thank you so much, ma'am. We are really grateful that you are here. And thank you so much for your valuable points. We are definitely going to come back to you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, you're on mute, ma'am. Ma'am, please unmute yourself. Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Yeah. Now, am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am,
Yes,
you
ma'am,
are
you
audible.
are.
Yeah, I would like to say a big thank you to you for organizing this. And there are some very valuable points which Dr. Pandey has pointed out, and Richa ma'am has also pointed out. And I wish you all the best, Pooja. Keep shining and keep getting people aware of what's happening in the society, and so that we can raise wonderful children and an amazing generation to come. Thank you so much, and goodbye, everyone. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you
Pooja.
so much, Ranjana, ma'am. We are very grateful that you are here. Thank you.
Thank
All right. So, Richa, ma'am, we would like to ask this question from you. I just love the point when you said sanitizing the mind, sanitizing the brains. And I actually also love what Ashok sir said, that instead of blaming, it is more important that we take the responsibility. Richa, ma'am, please throw more light around sex education. How can we incorporate sex education? How can we be open with such a sensitive topic? Because I am sure, and you will also agree to that teachers as well as parents are so shy and so conserved when they talk about anything related to sex. The irony here is that before we get married, the parents say, no, sex is wrong, don't go ahead with it, this is wrong, don't do this. And immediately, once we are married, within one night, they start talking about, when are we going to become grandparents? When are we going to give us grandchildren? So, isn't this something which is hypocrisy, that a night before sex was wrong for you, and now indirectly you're insisting us to do more of it so that we can make you grandparents? So do you see that we as an adults are not taking this natural thing, as Ashok says, that this is such a natural phenomenon, we are not taking it or accepting it, and that is why we are shying away or running away discussing things about sex with our kids? And actually, because we are not talking, this is all what is happening. Over to you, Richa ma'am.
Thank you, Pooja. Firstly, I will like to start this. I don't say that parents are hypocrites because that's the cultural value with which they have grown. Me today, if you see, as let's take myself as a parent, I feel very comfortable when I'm talking to my children about what sex education is all about, because we are very open in communicating to them what is right and what is wrong. We are able to tell them, okay, this is the thing that you need to know, and this is the thing that you need to be cautious about. So we are quite comfortable when we are talking about it. So it is the change in the generation and the process in which it was communicated. That's the most important thing. I have myself taken a lot of sessions for my students about sex education. When we have talked to children about it, we have, as I said, I have sensitized their minds to understanding the importance of it by introducing it in a very sensitive way, by telling them, well, what are the hazards if you are not conscious about it? What do you feel about what is love all about? So when we dealt with these different emotions and role plays and different other communications, which was a discussion, which was through a movie. Now when these things were put in front of the children, they actually came out and their inhibitions were shed. So the right thing is that if we are engaging the children, if we are involving them in the discussion, it's an open platform. It's something that they need to know. It is quite natural, and it is an open forum for all of them to come forward and discuss, because they know that this is natural. But they also know, okay, society has these ethics, society has these norms which needs to be followed. So that's the most important thing that we have followed when we have talked about sex education. Over to you. If more questions, I'd like to answer to that.
Yes, definitely, ma'am. Completely agree with you. Ashok, sir, would you like to add something here?
Yeah, yeah, please, go ahead. Yeah,
All right. Would you
yeah,
like to add something to what ma'am has just said?
yeah, yeah. Absolutely, I concur with what she has said. And maybe the next question I can take. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, all right. So this was the last question so far. And
Oh,
yes, the other questions which I can see online, they are all related to the same thing which
yeah.
we have already discussed. So if
You
do
see,
you have
I
anything
will.
else?
Yeah, I would like to say only two things, now,
Mm-hmm.
which I think if audience of yours is comprising parents, two things I must share here. One is, of course, the parents as a you have a lot of responsibility and you have a lot of aspirations from your children will remain your children, nobody has any copyright on them, but the teachers also have a lot of stake in them. They also have a lot of love for them. My experience has been, and if anybody disagrees to it, I would like to engage them in some conversation, that the teacher's love for the children is of a very high quality, let me tell you. And what defines that high quality? That high quality love is defined by three distinct features. Feature number one is it is unconditional. Feature number two is it is non-discriminating. And feature number three is it is undiminishing. So parents should never forget this. Unconditional, non-discriminating, undiminishing love teachers have for them, and therefore they work with them, they work hard for them, their commitment, their hard work, their care, everything is defined by that. The problem is, as parents, you see, uh, I have no blame for them. I'm only exhorting them, I'm only nudging them, that while you are raising your children, you are focused, and rightly so, that he or she is your child. You have aspirations, they will learn something, they will grow, they will do well, and they will go on the world platform and make a name, fame, money, influence, everything. But at one stage, those children will become children of the world. They will become world citizens. And therefore, keep this thing in mind as to how you are preparing them and investing them so that they become a first rate world citizen, where they are sensitive to the needs of the world, they are sensitive to the needs of the poverty, the hunger, the clean water, the malnutrition, climate, because they have to live in this world for next 50, 60, 70, 100 years. So I think we have to prepare them for that, you see. I will, if time permits, 1 minute, I'll share this anecdote with you, that a parent came to me with his son who got into one of the top medical colleges in the country. He came to tell thanks to me and my teachers and school. I talked to him and I told him that congratulations, and he is going to be a doctor, and you should be very proud as a parent. But please, after 5 years, 6 years, when he graduates, he will become a doctor for the people, and he will no more remain your son. And he was shocked for a moment, but he recovered himself from that shock, and he said, yes sir, thank you very much for saying this, because he's going to serve, he's not going to serve only the parents. Of course, he will take care of the parents, you have given that value, but he is going to serve the humanity. Now he is a doctor for the world. And that is what we have to keep in mind. And that should guide our behavior, our investment, and our aspiration. And so that quality love from the teachers and this kind of thought process from the parents, I think that will be a very, very important thing. The second thing is, it takes a village to raise a child. It is a very famous African proverb. So the teachers, the parents, the society, everybody is responsible for raising the child. You see, I think sometimes people like you, Pooja, raise question against media also. What is the kind of content you are showing to the young children? Parents should also raise this point. instead of jumping what is school you are studying and why it has happened in your school. I think we should ask the society also that what havoc you are creating for these children. And the last thing is that it is a prayer for the parents, for the children, for everybody, that हमको जीवन देने वाले देना हमको ये वरदान, विद्या और कला हम सीखें, बन जाएं अच्छे इंसान. I think that is the prayer, that we should learn the cognitive things, we should learn art, music, socio-emotional skills, adaptability, so that we become a complete human being, and you can be someone who is competent to handle the problems of the world. That's what my message is.
This was a great and wonderful message, sir. Absolutely right. And I completely agree with you that what media is showing is debilitating. It is giving a lot of stress. And again, why media is showing this has got another research and another studies that they want to do it to ensure that other huge industries are working. And yes, absolutely, you have said things right. And just to add on that, this session was primarily kept not to blame schools or parents, but it was to raise these points, because no other platform I could see that these points were raised. However, these cases were increasing, and there have been things which one side was saying somewhere and another side was saying it somewhere. But then there was no single platform where parents and teachers could come up and talk about it. Or probably, as I mentioned before the inception of the session, that these are so bold topics, and I'm so grateful to you all that you have taken up this step and you have stepped forward to talk about these things, because what schools are doing is absolutely important for parents as well to know. And who is going to tell them that it is equally your responsibility as well? As sir said absolutely right, that it takes village to raise kid, and each and every kid is so important. Values given to each and every kid is important, because even one fish can spoil the whole pond. So yes, I'm really impressed with what you have said, Ashok sir. Each and every word was absolutely true. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Now, Richa ma'am, thank you so much, sir. Richa ma'am, you have got something to add on here?
A small message to all the parents as well as to the teacher community, that it is very important for all of us that when we are dealing with children, let them go with the small thing, a small message. Discover the unique in you, develop it with passion, and use it for the benefit of self and society. Do not judge children, understand children, sympathize with them, empathize with them, hold them, hand hold them, and let them flourish. That's what I would like to say. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much, Pooja. It was a lovely time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir,
Thank
for
you.
your lovely inputs.
Thank you. Thank you. Same here.
Thank you so much, Richa ma'am. Thank you so much, Ashok sir. Richa ma'am, you said absolutely right that we parents and at times couple of teachers, we forget that these are seeds, and we are like gardeners. We just have to help them, water them, flourish them, so that they can grow at their own pace, and not all of them would grow in this on the same pace. This actually takes
Thank
me to so many other questions which we're gonna handle in another sessions. So yes, he is my son. Of course, he can say hello. So he is
thank
my
you.
little one, because I'm a mother.
Thank you.
It
Thank you.
avoid.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashok sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Nice.
Richa
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you,
Thanks
sir.
a
Thank you
lot.
so much.
Thank you. Bye
Ranjana
bye.
ma'am is also here. We would again like to say thank you, Ranjana ma'am, for your time. Thank you so much. And our viewers have also liked these sessions. They are again and again telling that yes, you have said absolutely right. This will again reach out to multiple people. In our next session, we'll all again come up with a couple of things which parents have in their minds, and then teachers or experts like you would like to answer. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank
And
you. Thank
LivesBerg
you.
is LivesBerg
Thank
Technology
you.
saying thank you to
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you, audience, for joining in. Please keep watching for more of these kind of topics coming up. Yes, we will be coming up more with more topics, and those topics would be that one of the important point that what we go through and how we are grown up, what we were told until we were 7 years of age, has got a huge impact all throughout our lives. So core of who I am and who you are is all dependent on how we have been treated and what we were told until we were 7 years of age. There are things which parents are not doing right with their kids. We don't know about it because we were not taught. And there are things which when at times teachers need to operate and execute things in a manner which becomes an example for the kids. We will keep coming up with more of these experts from different schools, different organizations answering our questions. You can always send and share your questions so that we can have those questions asked by our panelists. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being patient. Please do share your feedback in the comment section below. And also you can suggest us the topics. You can freely suggest us the questions. Thank you so much for joining in. LivesBerg Technologies saying bye-bye to you.